Story 1. Know your worth. When you are new to relationships, they will test your boundaries. Because you may be naive, you might tolerate things that you should not accept. Story 2. Communication is not just about talking, it is about listening too. My first boyfriend and I would talk for hours, but neither of us actually heard what the other person was saying. Save yourself the heartache and learn to truly listen. Story 3. Communication goes both ways. You need to listen as much as you need to talk. You will definitely need to compromise, as partners usually have different hobbies and preferences. This means one partner may think differently than the other, and you will have to reach common ground. This is directly related to communication. Story 4. Relationships require effort, but that doesn't mean being with someone should be difficult. It took me some time to understand the difference. Story 5. Know that it's okay to have alone time and to do things separately that you both enjoy. For example, I love to play games on my computer, and while I do that, my partner usually sits behind me browsing for clothes or playing The Sims. Story 6. Set boundaries, have standards, maintain self-respect, and be strong enough to let go and know what you deserve. Only give someone one chance to date you. If they say no, move on to the next. Refuse to be someone's second choice, exit plan, or stepping stone. Do everything in your own time frame when you are ready, whether it's marriage, having children, or other important decisions. Do not let anyone pressure you. Most importantly, prioritize yourself. When they leave, the only person who will be there for you is yourself. Do not cut your friends off. Some will be there when you need them. Story 7. If you sense a red flag, trust your instincts. If you are a woman, do not let others persuade you to give people a second chance or convince you that men need to be trained. You are not their mother. Story 8. How to spot signs of abusive behavior. How to maintain safety in dating. Safe sex practices, and I do not just mean contraceptives. Do not try to force it to work just because it is your first experience. Know your boundaries and how to express them. Story 9. Don't settle for things that bother you just because that person is who you want to spend your life with. Story 10. She isn't sharing her problems for you to fix them or come up with solutions. She needs to vent. Be ready with a shoulder, a hug, a tissue, or a way to dispose of anything unwanted. Story 11. If you experience heartbreak, have someone you can rely on and talk to. You may cry yourself to sleep for a while, but trust me, it will get better. The pain may feel unbearable at first, but with time, it softens. Allow yourself to grieve, but don't forget to breathe. One day, you will wake up and feel a little lighter. Healing isn't a straight path, but you will find strength in unexpected places. You are not alone, and you will love again. Story 12. A lot of the people in these comments are very negative. I am 26 years old and in my first real relationship. I have had flings before, but here is what I have learned so far. The right partner will meet you halfway. If you find yourself begging for their attention, it is time to end things. This does not always mean they do not like you. Sometimes it is just a compatibility issue. If you want someone to give you attention that they are not capable of providing, remember that you deserve to be with someone who can give that to you. If you find that you do not actually like someone anymore, remember they deserve someone who loves and appreciates them just as much as you do. Do not string people along. The phrase, "it will be easy when it's the right person," does not mean what you might think. However, the right person will want to work things out and listen to you. Relationships can be challenging, but both people should not only be able to communicate but actually want to. On a personal note, I grew up with a mother who had several tumultuous relationships. I used to always say that I would not put up with the same nonsense for myself. As it turns out, I absorbed a lot more from those experiences than I wanted to. What has helped me is reminding myself that I was single and happy before, and it is very possible to be single and happy again. I am in a healthier relationship right now, with a guy who does not get angry or yell and who wants to compromise with me. He tells me that he prefers I send my long, detailed emotional messages when I am bothered by something so we can have the opportunity to talk it out. It has not been a fairy tale. He is not Prince Charming, nor am I always the best partner. But we have been working things out as they arise because we want to be together. I hope this helps. Love is not a fairy tale, and it is definitely not doom and gloom. Remember that being alone is not horrible and that your partner is never responsible for managing your emotions. Good luck. Story 13. How do you handle criticism? Do you react with emotions or logic in discussions? How do you manage disagreements? Story 14. If you find yourself arguing, try to remember that it is not you versus them. It is both of you versus the problem. Be respectful and work together to find solutions. Story 15. Your relationship will be significantly harder if your partner's parents don't like you, especially if they have a good relationship with their parents. Can breed resentment, and they may prioritize family over you when it matters most. The only way to maintain a friendship with an ex is if you started out as friends first. Even then, it can be challenging and may eventually stop working. Consider whether you want to jeopardize a friendship for a potential relationship that, as many have said, especially if it's your first, likely won't succeed. Don't rush into the physical aspect. Many people become attached after losing their virginity or having sex for the first time with someone they have feelings for. This can lead them to stay in a relationship longer than necessary or to force a relationship that isn't a good match. Finally, use protection. Condoms are essential once you begin having sex. Story 16. Your first relationship is your first exposure to relationships and is therefore the most memorable, at least in my experience. Your first relationship will also determine how you think of love and how you will approach other relationships if you don't stay with the person from your first relationship. Keeping that in mind, choose your partner wisely. There is a lot of pressure among young people, specifically teenagers, to date someone just for the sake of dating. They often care more about the person's reputation and status rather than who they are. Many people and social media content make young people feel bad or left out when they are not in a relationship, causing them to rush into one. My advice is to avoid this. If you rush into a relationship, it can go very badly and affect how you approach other relationships. It's okay to be single until you meet the right person. You aren't weird or uncool if you don't have a partner. Especially at a young age, you are not obligated to be in a relationship. So choose every partner you date carefully. If your reason for dating someone is simply that you want to be in a relationship or you feel lonely, it's best not to enter a relationship as it may end poorly. Story 17. It likely won't last because neither of you has the emotional tools and skills to sustain it. Story 18. Chances are one of you will experience heartbreak in the future. I hope that's not you. I have been heartbroken 3 times by long-term partners, and I feel somewhat numb now. If I could go back, I would have chosen to stay single forever. Story 19. The partner who is less invested will have more power in the dynamic, and the breakup will be painful because heartbreak is difficult. Story 20. Don't forget what you stand for. Stay firm in your boundaries. Do not let disrespect slide, but give your partner a chance before doubting their intentions and assuming the worst. Do not go in always expecting the worst from the relationship. Yes, there are many red flags, and you may have heard horror stories from your friends, but that is not an excuse to treat your partner poorly or be dismissive of them. Of course, all of this comes after you have feelings for someone and enter a relationship with them. Story 21. That 30-something person is not attracted to you because they think you are mature for your age. Story 22. Be honest with yourself about what you want and your worth. This time of year, many people receive offers of admission to higher education and consider sacrificing a good opportunity to maintain a relationship that will be severely tested, as the other person also needs to focus on school or work commitments. Story 23. Don't settle for an unhappy time with someone you're incompatible with simply because you're new to this and lack experience. This applies to you even if you struggle with low self-worth. It may seem enticing because this is probably the first time you've heard someone express interest in you. It's tempting to go along with it, especially since you may not know what you want yet. However, be mindful that you also haven't experienced red flags in a relationship firsthand. Be careful and ready to communicate once the honeymoon phase is over. I wouldn't treat it like an experiment, but be aware of yourself and your limits. If it starts feeling messy and prolonged, it's okay to end it, even if you feel anxious about returning to being single after experiencing romance. Remember, you have lived your entire life single, so you can handle ending something that isn't working. The likelihood that it will not last is high, but that's okay. It can feel intense, and that's because it is. But it is not a unique experience, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It's something that people can mutually understand as a significant event for you to figure out what you want in life. You may even emerge from the relationship knowing the traits and values you seek in a partner and how to be a better partner yourself. If it doesn't work out, it will feel disappointing, but that's fine. It's a stepping stone to learning about life and understanding what you can offer as well as what you ultimately deserve. Try your best, but don't overextend yourself for someone you don't realistically see building a sustainable future with. Story 24. You don't owe anyone your body or soul, and vice versa. Other opinions such as, come on, give him or her another chance, it was just, have no place in your relationship. Only you can determine how someone is affecting you. Never fall for things like time limits on when you should perform a sexual act. Only do it if you are comfortable. If it's not right and they are pressing you, that is not a good relationship. Similarly, the idea that if he buys dinner, you should at least pay him back is not a healthy expectation. Lastly, if someone is hurting you internally or if it's external, just run. Nothing and no one is worth that. Unless you feel genuinely endangered, communicate your feelings. If they can't handle that and you discuss it reasonably while suggesting necessary adjustments, that is very bad news. If they won't address issues at the beginning when they are small, they won't change later on. Story 25. Not every negative thing that happens means you need to immediately end the relationship. Your life isn't going to be all rainbows and sunshine where nobody ever challenges you. Conflict happens. You are not one person with one mind. You will disagree sometimes on something that seems important. That's when you talk it through. Story 26. Sometimes people are not compatible, and it is acceptable to end the relationship amicably and go your separate ways without casting blame for the relationship ending. Story 27. If you are a woman, you should read Should I Stay or Should I Go by Lundy Bancroft. Abuse is difficult to recognize while you are experiencing it, so it is important to be aware of the signs. Story 28. Seriously, don't abandon your friends or stop doing things you enjoy. Having your own life outside the relationship is very important. It is not clingy. It makes you both more interesting, to be honest. Story 29. Always remember that if it ends one day, you will be heartbroken and think you will never get over it. But you will. Story 30. Never take your partner's love for granted, especially when the relationship is young. Actions are better than words, so show them how much they matter to you. Story 31. Think about what a relationship means to you and why you want to be in one with this particular person. Do you actually like them, or do you like being liked? It plays an important role when things get difficult, and you will only be able to put in effort when you truly know this is what you want. Story 32. How birth control and condoms work. It is your responsibility to protect yourself from pregnancy, just as it is their responsibility to protect themselves from pregnancy. Story 33. I am 45 years old and in my fourth relationship. There is a slight chance that it will not be your last. Enjoy the journey and stay true to yourself. You will both change over time, and you need to invest effort to keep it going. Story 34. Don't succumb to the pressure to rush anything. I had a girl who was talking about marriage within our first month. Story 35. If you are pretending to be someone you are not being fair to either of you. You deserve someone who appreciates the real you, and they deserve someone who is genuine. Story 36. I know it's difficult, but if it is coming to an end, try not to take it too hard. Relationships don't always work out, and that's okay. You can be the whole package at the wrong address. Story 37. That it is more than likely won't be their last. Your first relationship is where you learn a lot for your next. Story 38. Know your worth, respect your boundaries, learn how to handle disagreements, have your own hobbies and personal life too, communicate about your wants and needs in a relationship, and learn to love yourself first. Story 39. Not everyone comes with a clear heart. You will face many challenges, and you will need to learn how to resolve them. Do not try to become a winner in conflict. You must aim to win together. Otherwise, it is not a relationship. Story 40. Be comfortable saying no and prioritize yourself. Pay attention to how others take it. Most people tolerate much more in the beginning, but after a while, once they are convinced they have you hooked, they will show their true selves. Story 41. Self-respect is essential. Never compromise your self-respect for your partner's benefit. You will regret it in the future. Trust me. Story 42. Every relationship is different. There is no certain mold to fit into. However, it is important to communicate openly with your partner. Playing guessing games and assuming they can read your mind is not only unkind, but it also wastes their time. Story 43. If it is not working, time will not fix it. People do not improve. You cannot change them. You deserve happiness. Story 44. You cannot be everything for that person, despite your desire and effort. It is not possible. You can be a lot for someone, but not everything, and not enough people realize that. Story 45. Set boundaries from the beginning. Don't just say that someone crossed your boundaries without raising the issue beforehand. Story 46. The first time you fall in love, it often feels like it will last forever. However, it rarely does. Make plans with this in mind, even if it doesn't seem true. Story 47. People often overemphasize longevity as the measure of a relationship. Many relationships that were mostly positive end, while numerous toxic ones endure until one partner passes away. It is acceptable to want to leave even a seemingly good relationship. Story 48. In my case, I don't want to enter a relationship yet, as I am not comfortable being in a relationship with myself. For example, I tend to be messy, and I don't want to be with someone who will have issues with my messiness. I need to address that first before pursuing a relationship. In short, become the person you want to be in a relationship with. Don't be a problem for your partner. Story 49. When you are sleeping next to them, they will be unbearably hot, and you will have to discreetly maneuver yourself away from the heat. Story 50. You need to stop an argument when you can't control the tone of your voice. Calm down, collect your thoughts, and speak normally. Some things can't be unsaid. Jealousy is a useless emotion. It just reflects your own insecurity. Wild and crazy can be fun, but not long-term. Watch out for unusual signs like constant sickness or mood swings. They can indicate manipulation. Don't expect a woman to admit she was wrong. Even when she knows it, she remembers instances when you were wrong, and she will bring them up too. Women are often better at this than men. Took me a long time to understand this. When men talk about something, they are often looking for advice or confirmation. Women typically just want men to listen to them without offering advice. Story 51. I wish I knew that love and respect were different, and that you cannot abuse something you respect. People can love you and be disrespectful. That's how cheating occurs. That's how name-calling happens. That's how abuse happens. You stay because you love them and they love you. I believe respect is more important than love in many ways. Story 52. Love yourself before you try to love others. Focus on personal growth and your career. Engage in enjoyable hobbies and embrace life. Your significant other should enhance your life, not detract from it. Do not hesitate to set boundaries and walk away when you are no longer happy. Story 53. Please look up the Power and Control Wheel, which outlines behaviors that should not occur in a happy, healthy relationship. The equality will illustrates what should be happening in a happy, healthy relationship. A foundational book about abuse and control is Why Does He Do That? Inside the Minds of Angry and Controlling Men by Lundy Bancroft. Story 54. Knowing the purpose of having a relationship is important. If the purpose is negative, it is wiser to avoid that relationship entirely. Story 55. Find out how they handle money, criticism, and not getting their way. If they cannot manage these situations, consider moving on. Story 56. Communication is a two-way street. I entered my relationship after years of reading fan fiction and romance novels. I was too shy to open up to my partner when we first became intimate. but he never became upset or angry. Confusion was evident on his face, but he never pressured me. In my mind, I worried that we might not be compatible. We both had adventurous sides, but communicating openly about what I knew would please me improved our intimacy. My initiative also made him feel comfortable sharing his feelings with me. If you see this tomorrow morning, it would mean a lot. Story 57. Set a standard and maintain it. Don't let love manipulate your ideas into someone else's. The honest answer is to be prepared. It is going to be the worst heartbreak. Story 58. Before entering a relationship, it is important to know who you are and what you want. If you do not, you may end up molding yourself around your partner without realizing it. This can lead to confusing comfort with connection and chasing validation instead of respect. Learn to be content on your own first. This way, you are not looking for someone to complete you. You are simply adding to a life you already appreciate. Without this self-awareness, you may settle for things you do not truly want due to fear of losing them. Additionally, it is essential to avoid seeking a relationship to fix personal issues. Instead, you want a partner with whom you can genuinely share your life. Story 59. Know that it's better the more time you spend together, not just in bed. Really, intimacy is not all that a relationship is about. If you have a good relationship, there are many other activities you can enjoy together besides being physical. Story 60. Know who you are and accept who you are. Be confident and secure enough to authentically live for yourself without relying on another person. Story 61. Examine your relationship with your parents. If it is toxic, recognize that toxic relationships may feel normal to you, but you should not settle for abuse just because it is what you are accustomed to. Story 62. The goal is to be completely yourself and find someone who accepts that. The goal is not to change yourself to fit what the other person is looking for. If you don't take care of yourself, nobody will. Story 63. Pull up your natal charts and do the synastry. Everything you need to know about how that relationship will unfold is right there. Additionally, any males born in New Mexico around 9:45 a.m. on August 17, 1976, your match is right here. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.